G'day everyone and welcome to Mob Boys Toys. Today we are going to do a quick video on the new Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a bunch of free games that they've put online for the Nintendo Switch. So what we're going to do in this video is take a quick look at the first few minutes of each of the 20 games that have gone up. The first one that we look at here is Ball Brothers. From what I can tell, it is basically just a normal sort of 16-bit beat 'em up, much in the fashion of Streets of Rage or Final Fight or something of that nature. I don't actually remember this one back in the day, but had a fair bit of fun playing around with it today, and it's probably one of the ones that I will get back into because it does look like a heap of fun. So I will just let the footage of this one play out. So the second game on the list is Breath of Fire. Just a really quick look at this one. We don't go into much depth on it at all, but basically this was a Capcom RPG series that started on the Super Nintendo. The sequel also was on the Super Nintendo, and then following on from that, the sequels all sort of then moved over to the PlayStation format. So again, just a really quick look. As you can imagine, the starting point of an RPG was a bit slow, so there wasn't too much going on here. But it's good to see that old 16-bit type sprite action when it comes to your RPGs. So the third game is Demon's Crest. I had a heap of fun actually collecting the footage for this one earlier today. As you will get to see, I suck. I think I last for about maybe 30 seconds on both of my attempts at sort of trying to get some footage for this one. I'm sure it's one of those games that once I figure it out, I'll get much better at it, and it'll be actually quite good fun to play. So yeah, Demon's Crest looks like a lot of fun. Looks like it's sort of in line with sort of, I guess, the Castlevania series. It may in fact be a part of that series, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it's a pretty cool game, and I'm looking forward to getting past the first screen. So now we have a game series that I am actually familiar with, and that is FZero. I didn't actually play a heap of FZero on the Super NES. I've never played the 64-bit or Nintendo 64 version, although I do own several copies of it. What I did play a lot of was obviously, much like everybody, the brilliant GameCube version of this game. That is the game, or that is the version that we all want to come back because of just how great it was. So yeah, FZero, this is where it all started, using the old Mode 7 as we all became familiar with through games like Super Mario Kart and so on the Super Nintendo. So now we're going to look at one of the many platformers that we have in this collection so far, and this one is Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics. I seem to remember this series having a different name potentially down here in Australia. I can't quite remember, but I do definitely remember sort of playing what I remember this game to be, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's not a bad little platform. It's got quite a bit of verticality in it. It's not just your usual sort of left and right. This one's got a fair bit of up and down in it. So yeah, I really enjoyed sort of playing it again today, and look forward to spending a whole heap more time with it in the coming months. Here we have our good friend Kirby. I'm not going to lie, at the moment I'm well and truly in a Kirby mood. I have finished the other 16-bit Kirby game for a full-on Let's Play on our video channel, and I will do the same thing for this Dream course, and then also for Dreamland 3 that forms a part of our collection, and a game that you'll see up next. This is, as you can see, a weird kind of golf type game. It is actually a heap of fun. I've played it a couple of times before and really enjoyed it, so looking forward to getting back into it. And like I said, probably going forward, this will be one of the games that I'll do a long play on and actually play through the whole game for you guys. Yeah, I will skip ahead now to Kirby Dreamland 3. And here we have it as promised, Kirby's Dreamland 3, the more traditional type Kirby game, or absolutely far more traditional than I guess Kirby's Dream Course. This is the sort of Kirby game that I really enjoy, and to be honest, I never really got into Kirby until, was it Epic Yarn on the Wii, or something like that on the Wii, and then Planet Robot on the 3DS. Those games really sort of opened me up to, I guess, the simplistic fun that Kirby games can be, and I do really enjoy them just from the perspective of just sort of being able to work my way through. I'm not sort of an excellently or highly skilled video game player. I like the more easy experiences where it's just more about sort of hanging out and having a good time. And as most of you guys would know, Kirby well and truly fits that bill. So yeah, Kirby Dreamland 3 is a great addition to this online service. And now we have Pilot Wings. This was obviously the first version of Pilot Wings that I played. Obviously came out on the Super Nintendo, and yet again was another game that took advantage of that Mode 7 ability that the Super Nintendo was known for. Unfortunately, my game capture missed me attempting to land my red plane because I absolutely nailed it. And of course, it's only captured me trying to land my skydiving parachute. And as you'll see, it is terrible at best. I have played a lot more Pilot Wings on the 3DS. I really enjoyed that version of the game a whole lot more. I do like the franchise, and again, we be sort of spending a little bit of time getting back into this version, and yeah, again, just another really, really cool addition to this collection of 20 games that we've got today. Now it's time for Star Fox, one of my favourite games of all time. I have already done I guess a my favourite Super Nintendo game video for this particular game. I love it. I've played it many, many, many times over the years, and I will probably play it many, many more times. In fact, this will be one game that I will do a long play on to just get all the levels through and actually show you the game for those of you that haven't seen it. I don't care what version of this game it is, whether it's the Super NES version, the Nintendo 64 version, the 3DS version. I will just play it and play it and play it. I'm a big fan of the Super Effects games. Star Fox was obviously the first one that I got to play, and then coming up next will be probably, I guess, an FX chip game that I actually like more, and that is Stunt Race FX. This is a game that I played probably more than Star Fox. It's a game that I own many copies of, even to the point where last time I was in Japan I was buying versions of it. I think over there it was called Wild Tracks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Wild Tracks from memory. I'll try and do a collection video on that, or maybe just chuck my collection into the video when I do what will no doubt be a long play for that when I get used to the controls again, because as you'll see right here, it's a little bit wonky after about 15 years away from the game. So yeah, it's really cool to have these FX Chips games in the collection. It's something that's not normally done. I know we've got them on the SNES Mini, but yeah, really good to have them on the Switch now as well. Now we'll take a quick look at Earth Defense Force. This is a side-scrolling shooter. Whether it's side-scrolling or sort of vertical scrolling, I really want to be able to enjoy these games and really want to like these games, but I suck at them. So I tend to get very short bursts at being able to play through them. I am a big fan of Gunbird 1 and 2. I play that on the Switch quite a bit. The main benefit that I get with that game in particular is the ability to really drop the difficulty, so I get to spend a bit of time playing it. As you'll see with even this gameplay footage for this one, I don't last very long at all. For some reason these sorts of shooters are just not my style, but I do really like them. They are good fun, whether it's R-Type or Ikaruga or whatever it is. They are good fun, so hopefully one day they'll click and I'll actually get good at them. Now, speaking of games that I really love and want to be good at but cannot help but suck at, is Super Ghouls and Ghosts. This is one of those games, regardless of the version, that I just want to play because I really like it, I want to be good at it, but I just suck at it and never really get too far in any version of the game. So it's one of those things where I'll probably have to watch someone else play it because I am terrible, but I really just like the look of the game and the aesthetic of the game. And yeah, just for some reason I've had an interest in it for a very long time. But yeah, as you will see here very shortly, I'm just not the person that should be trying to play it. Up next is Super Mario Kart, obviously the original Mario Kart that came out on the Super Nintendo. I've already done a fairly lengthy video on this on the channel, so if you do want to check that out, it is over in the Super Nintendo favourites playlist. I've played right through, I think, just the Mushroom Cup from memory. I kept it fairly short. But yeah, look, a great game. I'm sure I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. In terms of the way these games have held up on this emulation, they all seem to be running quite well. There are no issues. I think they're fine. So yeah, look, a great version of a great game. Definitely for free as well. You know, as a part of this Switch Online thing, it's great to have this game yet again, to be able to play it, just to remind ourselves where this series started, and appreciate the fact that we're not restricted by, I guess, the genius of Mode 7 anymore. Now, yet another game that doesn't need any introduction or information from myself. It's Super Mario World. What is there to say about this game apart from the fact that it is absolutely amazing, and I'm sure everybody watching this video loves it. So I won't feel the need to put my 2 bits in, or my thoughts in there, because I think that we're all on the same page with this one. It's a great game. It's awesome to sit down and put lots and lots of hours in, discover all the secrets. They've been well documented. It's a great game. So yeah, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, another great game to have. Up next is the sequel, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. A great game. Thankfully, in the small amount of gameplay footage that I collected for this today, there was no crying baby Mario. If you will remember that sound effect, it will drive us all insane. In fact, or luckily, the bulk of the footage for this particular game is just this little intro sequence here that plays out. I think it looks awesome, even though it is just old school 16-bit graphics. So yeah, you'll see the intro. And then you'll see that really short first level where I just quickly play through that to give you an idea of the gameplay. As you would all know, hopefully, this is also an amazing game. And again, the fact that we have got this as a part of this initial 20 games on this service is actually quite amazing. So from Mario Kart to Mario World to Mario World 2, we now have Super Metroid. Again, another top shelf Nintendo 16-bit game that everybody absolutely loses their mind over, and quite rightly so. Again, it's just great to have easier access to this game. No need to pull out any old systems. You can now simply just turn your Switch on and there it is, ready to play. Amazing to have access to it. It's a fantastic game. And it's one of those things that you could just play over and over again for years and years and years and still enjoy the hell out of it. So again, just a really short amount of gameplay footage on this one, just to remind you all of what it's about, and then we shall see what's up next.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Now for a game that probably up until the start of this year I would not have had a clue about, but this is Super Puyo Puyo. And the reason why I know about it now is that I got Puyo Puyo Tetris earlier. I was going to say earlier this year, it's probably 18 months ago now, for the Switch when that was released, and I really enjoyed that game. Played through a great deal of the first player campaign, played a heap of online stuff, obviously was well aware of what Tetris was, but that was my introduction to Puyo Puyo, and playing that game has been really fantastic. I did consider a couple of weeks ago getting the Sega Ages version of Puyo Puyo that Sega put out, and I'm glad I didn't, because now we have this one as well. So if you are into Puyo Puyo or enjoy this, obviously be aware of the fact that there is that Puyo Puyo Tetris game around, which is a great game to pick up if you're into that, I guess, Japanese type cartoony game. It's good fun. It is a puzzle game, but yeah, super fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we have some sports games now. So the first one up is Super Soccer. Back in the day, great game. Playing it all these years later, you will see very quickly in the footage that it is completely different to, I guess, what we're now used to under the higher standards of FIFA or PES, depending on which one you play. But yeah, to be honest, it was interesting sort of kicking around with this one today. I think I would actually like to get back into that more simplistic approach to things and enjoy the more arcadey type feel that a soccer game can bring. But you will see very quickly that my one button approach to life doesn't get me very far in this game whatsoever. And then the second of the sports games is Super Tennis. Now, I am terrible at this game. I've never played it before. I am, I guess when it comes to tennis games, the only ones that I've really played, well, I've played a heap of Mario Tennis on the 64, on the Switch itself. I've also played a whole heap of Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast and on the Xbox Original. But yeah, you'll see in this footage, I've selected to play on grass. And yeah, being able to hit the ball is something that's quite difficult after many years. So I do like the fact that there are no professionals in this game. It's basically blokes like Mark and Brian and Matt playing each other. So that was good fun to have a bit of a look at. But yeah, I'm sure again, if I could get a feel for the game, it'll be great. But as you can see there, once the ball hits the grass, it stops almost dead on me. It's not the usual Mario Tennis arcade type tennis game that I'm used to.
Play. Play. Fault. 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 Fault.
And then now rounding out the list of the 20 initial games for this Super Nintendo Online Switch collection is Zelda: A Link to the Past. We've given you already a number of the greatest games ever made, and here you have one of, if not the greatest game ever made, as far as I'm concerned. It certainly has the best opening 20 minutes of any video game that I've ever played. I could play it over and over again just for the sound of the rain and the feeling that the start of the game has. It's fantastic. I'm hoping you've all played this game already. If you haven't, I'm very envious because you get to experience it for the first time, and that would just be amazing. So yeah, if it's anything out of this game, out of this 20 games, this is the one. This is the best one as far as I'm concerned, and that's saying a lot because when you've got Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2, Super Metroid, just to name a few, you're definitely not short on quality. This is a great game, as with a great deal of other games on this list. So there you have it, everybody, the 20 games that were given to us today by Nintendo on this new Super Nintendo Switch collection. There are 4 or 5 of the greatest games ever made on this list, so it is something awesome to get for such a low price, bordering on free. I hope you guys are as happy about this list as I am. As far as the video goes, thanks very much for watching. Like the video, dislike the video, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel, and thank you very much for watching.